What is up, everybody? This is Owaes back with the next video of Java JDBC Essential Training Series. So in the last couple of videos I've been showing you how to retrieve data from the database. In this video we are going to learn about PreparedStatement. I have a program here. I'm just going to show you what it's going to do. So I'm going to play the application and I'm going to type 300 here. So if I 300, then it's going to give me 3 results. Let me just take you to the database here. So we have 4 entities in our student table, and the fee is 400 for this student, 300 for this student, and 200 for this student, and 100 for this student, right? We're going to go back to NetBeans and I will run the application again. So if I type 100, and it will give me only one student because the student fee, the Michelle has $100 fee. On the top in SQL statement, you can see we are selecting from students where fee is less than, and then we got the question mark, which is a placeholder. So this is the code that you can use to retrieve data from database. So let's say if you are building a project about something, a market, or you want some prices from this to this price, and you want to retrieve just that data, so you can use this kind of logic here. So that's what we're going to build, and let's go and get started. Let me show you the database we have. So in the students table, I have 4 students here. Every student have a different fee here. So $100, $200 for second student, $300 for third, and $400 for fourth. So what if we can write a program which can retrieve the data according to the fee? So if I want to write a program which will retrieve students with $300 or less than $300 fee. So let's go back to NetBeans. So right now I have 3 classes here. The DB connections giving us a connection here, student class retrieving some data from the student table, and we have the main class. Now for that we need to create another class. So I'm just gonna right click, a new Java class, and we can just say input. Let's just say input, that's fine. And then we click on finish to create this class. Let's just get rid of these comments here. And in the class, I'm just going to create a new method, actually a couple of methods. So let's just type public static, and the return type would be string. Then we can just type get input method, string, and type in value as a parameter. And then in that, I'm gonna use a class named a buffer reader. So buffer reader class, let's just name it a buffer, is equal to a new buffer reader class. And then here we're gonna create a new input stream reader. So we create that, and then here we're gonna pass in system.in. Alright, so we got the buffer reader object now, and now we're going to print out a few things here. So just want to print out as out, and we're going to print out a value. Next we're going to flush that print out. So let's just type system out, actually system out dot flush. Okay, and then we are going to use a try and catch block. And in the try and catch block, I'm going to type return, and we can return the buffer object dot read line method. Okay, we'll read the string from that. And we have a second method. I named it getInt, and I pass in string as and a value as a parameter, and then we're just printing out an in variable, and we're calling the get input method, and we're passing the value, and then we're just returning integer dot parse int, and then we're passing in as a variable. So basically we are converting that string to integer. Now let's go to the main class. In the main class we are going to get rid of this SQL execute query, and then on the top we're going to create a new variable. So I'm just going to type private static final string, and we name it SQL is equal to, and in double quotation now we're going to use our SQL statement. So type select, and we can pass in the table column names, or we can just say asterisk, but I would recommend that type the table names, so that's a good practice. So here we can say ID comma, I'm going to say first name, comma, and then fee, and then we're gonna say from students. So students is our table name, and then I'm gonna say where fee less than equal to, and we're gonna type question mark, which is a placeholder for that variable. I actually got rid of all the code in main method so I could explain to you guys, so I'm gonna start writing from the scratch. So the first thing we're gonna declare is a double variable. So let's just type double, and I'm going to name it max fee, and then we're gonna start a try and catch block. So type try, enter, and then we can type here max fee is equal to, and then we're going to use our class which we just created, the input class. So type input, and we're going to call getInt method, and here we can pass in, let's just say, enter maximum fee. Okay, and then in the next in exception we can print out the exception. So I'm just going to type system error print, and here we can just say error invalid number. So invalid number, that's fine, and then we need to return that as well. So just type return, and down here we are going to create a result set. So we're going to use the result set class now. So type result set rs, I'm gonna instantiate it with a null, and then we're gonna start another try and catch block. So in that try block, so we're gonna start a connection first. So type connection, we're gonna name it con is equal to, and then we're gonna use a db connection class, get connection method, and add semicolon, and then instead of using statement we need to use a prepared statement. So just type prepared statement, name it stmt, and then we're going to use the connection con dot prepare statement. So this is the one, and then here we can pass in SQL, that's our variable on top for our query from SQL, comma, oops, I have to type SQL here and need to get rid of this comma, and then type comma, and then result set dot, and then we use the type scroll insensitive, then comma result set dot, we're gonna select read only. Alright, and then add a semicolon at the end, and then we're going to use that stmt now, and then we are going to call a method set double, and then in the parameters we type 1 and then the max fee. Alright, so the next line is going to be our result set. So type our result set variable rs is equal to our statement variable dot execute query, and here we don't have to pass in anything because we already passed in SQL here in the prepared statement. Alright, so in the next line we're going to display the data from there. So just type students dot get student method, okay, and pass in our rs object there. Now in the catch, actually we need to type this at the bottom, so let's just remove this area here, we don't need it, and let's go to the end and paste it here. In the exception we need to catch SQL exception instead of simple exception, SQL exception, and then we're gonna print out the error, which is going to be system error, and then here we'll pass an E. Okay, next we need to close our result set as well. So let's just come down here finally, and then we close that if rs not equal to null, and down here we can just say rs.close method. Okay. Alright, so there's one thing we're gonna fix here. On the top in SQL string, as you can see, we're selecting from ID, first name, fee from students where fee less than equal to this question mark, which is a placeholder, but I actually already declared in the student class, so we're getting the data from there, so we're actually getting that student first name there. So I'm just gonna add asterisk here instead of we selecting the table, so we'll select everything we have in the table, so that's fine now. And now if I run the code, I'll get enter the maximum fee, so let's just type 200, enter, and now we got two students which are $200 or less than $200. So if we go back to the database, and here you can see that Tom and Michelle has $200 and Michelle has $100 fee. So if I'm gonna go back to NetBeans and let's just run the application again, and okay, why it's taking so long, but let's just run it, and I'm gonna type 400 this time and enter, and now we got all the students because the maximum fee is 400, so lower than 400 is gonna get printed. So that's it for this video, guys. This is how you can use PreparedStatement to, this is a program where you can access something like, if you want lower, let's say you're creating a project where you have some tours or prices, so you can deal with the prices. So if you want to just retrieve the prices or data from a particular price which is lower than something, then you can use this code. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers.